In this video, we're gonna see what are namespaces in C++. In every C++ program, you can see a statement like using namespace std. In this video, we're gonna discuss what the namespace is and why we use using namespace std in every C++ program. Let's get started. So let me clear this line and show you what is namespace with an example. Let me clear this. For example, if you have a variable called int x, so basically what namespace is doing is using the namespace you can have a unique name for each variable. In C++, you can't have a same name for two variables. For example, I have a variable called int x equal to 1 and you can't create another variable with the same name. So int x equal to, you can't create this because this will raise an error. So when we run this file now, you can see that we get a error. The error is so let me show you the error now. You can see that we get a error like redeclaration of int x. You can't use two variables with the same name. So this is what namespace is giving us. Using the namespace, we can have a unique name for each variable, or you can say the unique name for each entity. Let me clear this and let's create a namespace so that you can use a unique name for each variable. So to create a namespace, we're gonna use a keyword called namespace. Just type the namespace and give a name for your namespace. In this case, I'm gonna type first. And inside this namespace, you can create the same variable with the same name. You can see that int x equal to 2. You can see that now in the same program we have a variable with the same name at 2 times. You can see that in the main function also we have a variable called int x equal to 1, and the namespace also we have a same name with the same variable. But this namespace is different than the local namespace. The main function will use the local namespace, but here we are creating our own namespace. So inside this namespace only the int x is defined. So when we run this file now, so let me run this file now. You can see that now there is no error. So this is what the namespace is doing. So using the namespace, we can have a unique name for each entity. So let me see out the x now. So standard cout and we're gonna print the x. So if we run this file now, you can see that we get the output like 1. So this is why we get 1 is that the main function will always use the local namespace. So if you want to use the first namespace, you will have to prefix with. So if you want to get the int x equal to 2, you will have to prefix the. So before that, let's create two namespace now. I'm gonna create this. I'm gonna name this namespace second. So we have this two namespace, and let's give a new value to the second namespace int x equal to 3. You can see that if you want to access this int x equal to 2, you will have to prefix this with the first. So first, and we're gonna use the operator called scope resolution operator. So inside the first namespace, we're going to use the variable x. So if you run this file now we get output 2. So now we are using the namespace 2. And if you want to get the output 3, that is, you have to prefix it with the second. So you're going to use the variable x from the second namespace. If you run this file now, you can see that we get a output like 3. So this is the usage of using namespace. So this is called the scope resolution operator. We have to prefix it with the namespace name. If you remove this and you run this function with the normal x, you can see that you will get the default namespace, that is the value 1. So main function will use the default namespace. But if you don't want to use it, you can use a keyword like using namespace first. Now you, with the help of this statement, if you run this function now if you run this file now, you can see that now we get value 2 for the x. Now we are using the first namespace and you don't have to prefix it with the first because we are mentioning using namespace first. Now if you change this to namespace second, so if you save this file and run it now, you can see that now we will get 3 as a value. You can see that we get the output 3. But if you want to access the value from the first namespace, you still have to prefix it. So if you want to access the x variable from the first name, you still have to prefix it. So we're gonna access the namespace from the first namespace. So we're gonna prefix it with first and use the scope resolution operator and the variable x. So if you run this file now, you can see that now we get the value 2. So let me add a new line to this end of this. So let's include the standard namespace now. Now if you run this file now, you can see that now you will get a output neatly. You can see that you get the output like x equal to 2. We are accessing the first namespace. So if you use the using namespace 1, actually you can see that this cout function is using the standard namespace. That's why we are always using namespace standard. The cout is defined in the standard namespace. So that's why you will always see a statement like using namespace standard. Now you don't have to use the standard prefix. Now if you run this file now, you can see that you will get the same output that we have got with the previous line. The standard namespace has a lot of different variables. So let me show you what are the variables are available. If you use the standard and use the scope resolution operator, you can see that we have different variables are available. By using namespace standard, you can see that you can't use the some variables because that variable will define in the standard namespace. So I won't recommend you use the using namespace standard. So if you want to use a specific function, you can use that by having a statement like using standard and cout function. You can create a specific statement like this using standard cout instead of having a general statement like using namespace standard. You can have a statement like this using standard. We're gonna use the end line only. So with the help of this, you can have a more broader variable names. So this is all about the namespace. So with the help of this namespace, you can have a unique name for each variable. So if you want to have a same variable name for two variables, you can create a different namespace and put the variable inside the namespace and you can use it there. So this is for this video and I will continue in the next one.